masterclass in mastering damp conditions, because he is consistently setting fastest lap upon fastest lap. And again, Paul Chater closed in on Mark Burnett, and very shortly, I would venture probably, Roger, if he makes those gains through the corners again this summer, he's going to be in Mark's slipstream at the end of this lap.
I'm not going to say anything, Ben, because that's a commentator's curse. However, Peter Turvet he is a Scottish guy, so bearing in mind the weather conditions in Scotland generally, I think wet conditions don't make him careful at all.
And we've got a big accident.
Oh yes, so that's a rolling car that we see going through there. That's not abnormal for the Paddock Hill Grandstand, Paddock Hill Bend, and these minis. It's very often we see that happen. Go in there sideways and you're going to roll that car.
It's James Goodall, I think, who's gone over.
He's done that once before.
So James Goodall, the car going over a couple of times, and the marshal's already on the scene, so we've got Paddock Hill Bend being covered with the wave yellow flags. At the head of the field, we have still got Chater closing in on Mark Burnett, as the rest of the field battling away. Stuart Coombs has been slightly delayed by that, deterred by his moment. Adrian Tutley is, he's driving a little bit like Colin McRae in his prime, because he is absolutely flinging it around. He's now up onto the tail of Darren Nightingale, and out of the car gets James Goodall. He walks away, and they build these Mighty Mini strong, Roger, and James Goodall walking away with that as much as a scratch on him. And unfortunately the car is slightly less good condition, but it's always good to see when a car goes over that the driver clambers out with no problems whatsoever.
Yes, I suppose that probably has some reason why I had a fairly nonchalant attitude about him rolling the car. We've done this almost every year at Brands Hatch, and James Goodall has rolled in the past and walked away from the car, so no doubt his dad knows how to put a new roof on that car, which I'm sure he'll have to do.
Who was it back in the end? There was a rally driver back in 1980 who sold advertising space underneath his car because he went over so often.
Sounds like Colin McRae.
Yes, so, well, James Goodall, this race being filmed for television, so he's going to get to relive that on YouTube for many months to come. And at the head of the field, still Mark Burnett, just able to keep Paul Chater at bay. Peter Turvet's now getting to a situation where he's able to pace himself. Louise Inch, I would reckon, is maybe the most vulnerable to making a slight error, because she's not like Peter Turvet in that he's in the lead the race. Turvet just has to push because he wants that win. But Louise Inch, she thinks, well, I'm very secure in second, and that's when you can risk losing concentration momentarily. So cross line goes Inch, and that's a lap of 1 minute 13 dead. The next car through is Mark Burnett, and that is a 1 minute 13.77. That goes out fractionally, and Paul Chater is still keeping Mark Burnett on this. Then we've got Michael Dryden, who's closing on Wesley Dunford, and the recovering David Rumbelow. And if you could see David at least get back those positions he lost when he went through the gravel trap, no fault of his own. And then here comes Stuart Coombs, who is tucked in right on the tail and going for a bit of a bold manoeuvre on the inside of Darren Nightingale in towards Paddock Hill Bend. The best view of that is going to come from Damien Harrington, the 53 car. Is Stuart Coombs going to go through? If he does, nicely judged. Harrington may indeed follow him through. Well, he's not quite able to do that, so he climbs up towards Druitt. And Rumbelow also, he's done his way past Michael Druitt, so Rumbelow getting places and having a lucky slide for Grand Hill Bend.
Yeah, incidentally, Stuart Coombs got racing and overtaking Darren Nightingale into Paddock there. It's only a couple of years ago that we actually saw Stuart Coombs have a colossal accident at Paddock. So it just goes to show that it doesn't really shake these guys up. They're made of fairly tough stuff. Stuart Coombs there in car 10. However, Peter Turvet and the sun, it looks as though it's coming out slightly, so I'm if this continues, I think that we'll even have a more exciting Super Mighty Minis race later on this afternoon.
Well, it's going to be very hard to top yesterday's Super Mighty Mini race, which we'll talk about later, but that was just something that was absolutely stunning. I was talking to somebody this morning who reckoned that was the best race we've seen at Brands Hatch in the past decade, yesterday's Super Mighty Mini race, so it really was quite a fantastic tussle. As through Paddock Hill Bend goes Wesley Dunford, then it's Michael Dryden and Dave Rumbelow. So Rumbelow was locked out against Dryden, but he's got a good run as they climb up towards Druitt. It's the bright yellow car moving inside of the pink machine. They can pick out the colours as they arrive into Druitt, and Rumbelow goes through, which is going to get the car turned through in time just about. These pretty narrow little cars, so he's able to run wide, but he's not giving driving the opportunity right back. So they run side by side down towards Graham Hill Bend, and Rumbelow on the racing line. And this is where it starts to get very difficult, Roger, because as the dry line emerges, the driver can be sucking in thinking, yeah, I can push him at not quite a dry pace, but that still is the slipperiest part of the circuit. If you go slightly off that line when the marbles are, there's still a bit more grip.
Absolutely. Well, it's a carter's trick. As you know, a racing line isn't the line that you should ever follow in the wet, because ultimately that's where the cars have been pounding around for years. However, the carters know that if you go wide, go off the racing line, you'll have an awful lot more grip just there.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we're seeing as Now, but really been caught here by Paul Chater. Chater sets his personal best lap of the race, then closes on Mark Burnett to the tune of 7/10 of a second last time around. And the other element of that is that as the Wesley Dunford Rumbelow Dryden battle pops up, they are not too far adrift, the Burnett and Chater fight. And if Burnett and Chater crash amongst themselves too much, then it's going to bring Wesley Dunford back into it. He's still got 7 minutes left on the clock. And so Mark Burnett, who has third, as each goes off at Graham Hill Bend, Louise Inch outbrakes herself and runs through the muck and the mud. She rejoins, not to lose position. That's exactly what we were saying on that momentary loss of concentration, slight error, and all of that margin goes.
Absolutely, you see Wesley Dunford coming through there on an absolute four-wheel drift as well. I think hopefully they don't just focus on Peter Turpin on the TV program that we're putting out, because he's having a fairly lackluster race in terms of